course, with us on the desk here. And we're going to open up this prop shop. I want you guys to give me your top props for every single team that is playing this weekend. We'll start with the Bills at the Broncos. It's a playoff rematch. Everything, of course, is flipped in this one. Buffalo's red hot. Denver's the #1 seed at home. And Josh Allen, of course, trying to repeat last year. But now he's got to go into Denver to do it. What's a Denver prop that you like?
If we're going to start with Denver, I would say R.J. Harvey. And I know when you think of Denver's offense, you don't really think of a strong run game, and you would be correct. I do think in order for the Broncos to win this game, it comes with their defense, but it comes with a balance on offense. You can't really rely on Bo Nix. You need some sort of balance. And we've seen that with R.J. Harvey. Since he stepped in for J.K. Dobbins, we've seen a consistent rush attempt. Maybe not rush yards, but rush attempts. So we're going to go 14 or more, over 13.5. That's something he has cashed in all of the last five. 4 of the last 5, I should say, but all of those cashes were wins. I do think they win this game, which I'll talk about later on. So I think game script bodes well. The strength of the Bills' defense is their pass defense, not so much their run defense. We've seen teams across the board exploit that. I think R.J. Harvey does that here.
I love this play so much that, I'll tell you, I have a correlated play. I'm going to take the rushing yards because I end up thinking both of these are going to hit. When you look at the backup running back situation for the Broncos, Jaleel McLaughlin, he's solid, but his rush attempt prop is only, I think, last time I checked, in that 3.5 range. So, yeah, Bo Nix is probably going to carry the ball a few times, but I think this is the R.J. Harvey show. And I think both of these teams pretty much played close to the vest, at least early with their running game. See how that goes. But again, this Bills rush defense, not very good. This line opened up at a lot of books in the low 50 range. It's now in that 55.5 range at FanDuel and a lot of other places. To me, it wouldn't surprise me if this closes. And again, I understand we're talking R.J. Harvey here, but it wouldn't surprise me at all if this closes in that 58.5 range. I like the over here.
Okay, so it's going to be the R.J. Harvey show here. We like him over on his attempts and over on his yards as well. See, when you look on the Bills side of this, what do you like?
Let's go with another over. I'm going to go with Brandon Cooks over 27.5 receiving yards. And this is a situation where I guess the best way to put it is process of elimination. We only have so many pass catchers. And don't get me wrong, Josh Allen passes to the tight ends, and we know James Cook is going to get the ball a ton of times, but I'm not so sure how successful James Cook is going to be against this Denver rush defense. And Brandon Cooks is one of the trusted Bills wide receivers, especially when you contemplate all the injuries that we see on this screen. There's only so many guys, and I think Brandon Cooks, outside of Khalil Shakir, might be near the top of that list. There's only so many guys that Josh Allen's going to be able to rely on, and this is a pretty low mark that for a guy that can get downfield. He can get over 27.5 receiving yards, potentially in 2 catches.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, Sia. He is the reliable deep threat for them right now, and the targets will come out of pure necessity. We've seen 11 targets for him the last 2 games. We're talking a 100-yard game, a near 60-yard game for him. And you talk about the down threat ability. Yes, this is a hard defense, but with the game script, it's Josh Allen. He's going to throw up the 50-50 ball, which we've seen a few times with Brandon Cooks, and he's been able to win those. So everything that Sia said, I applaud, I agree with. I would go over on Brandon Cooks as well.
All right, so far, I feel like everybody's on the same page here. We're liking R.J. Harvey. We're liking Brandon Cooks in this game. It should be a really good one. Of course, that one on CBS Sports. Let's now look at the Rams coming into Chicago. You got Matt Stafford and this absolutely loaded offense. He is coming in a little banged up. He did hurt his finger in the last game. It's supposed to be an ugly weather game, which Matt Stafford doesn't always play well in. And the Chicago team, fourth quarter, just keep coming back. Sia, when you look at a Rams prop, what do you think?
So I think Stafford's going to be just fine, in spite of the fact that it is very obviously a little colder than the LA teams like it that play indoor. With that said, I think part of the reason Matt Stafford's going to have a good game is because this running game is going to be great. Kyren Williams, Blake Corum, I think are going to be able to run all over the Bears. We know this Bears defense, just in general, doesn't offer a ton of resistance, but I also think the Bears defense is going to invite the run. They've got a lot of injuries, like new injuries for the Bears that are going to... Honestly, it's gonna be hard for them to figure out what direction they want to go. But what I think they're going to do is play the San Francisco 49er bend, don't break style of defense and maybe allow a few runs so they don't get hit by Devontae Adams, they don't get hit by Puka Nacua. I think we see a lot of running lanes for Kyren Williams and Blake Corum. I like Kyren's over 59.5 rushing yards.
I'm going to go with Stafford. I understand the worry about his index finger with it being cold and all that, but that just means he's going to have to throw the ball. Maybe they'll be playing from behind. Maybe it's a tighter game than we think. And I mean, they were a 10-point favorite against the Panthers. You saw how that went down. So I'm going to go over on completions for Stafford because I think the attempts are certainly going to be there. And really, regardless of game script, we've seen him cash this consistently. Look at the last 6 weeks. There's only 2 games where he didn't cash, and he only missed by the hook if we're talking 22.5 completions. It's a great matchup. I've said this all postseason. Bears get the takeaways, but their defense is weak outside of that. They're allowing over 32 attempts, over 21 completions a game. So I'm going to look at Matthew Stafford. I think game script could bode well here with some good back and forth. I'll go over.
One thing we know about Matt Stafford, they're always going to throw the ball. That is a pass-heavy offense. And so I like both of those plays a lot. Let's move on to the Texans at the Patriots. Claudia, you will be there.
Let's go.
Oh, sorry. I got ahead of myself. We have to talk about the Bears.
On.
We have to talk about the Bears, unfortunately.
We have to talk about Caleb Williams. Are you sure? We can't just move on to Drake May?
Yeah, so let us know what you think about that.
Caleb Williams, I'm going to go over on attempts here. I feel better with Stafford, who's going to, be runner-up to Drake May and MVP. But attempts, I feel a little bit better with Caleb Williams. With the back-and-forth effort, 32.5 makes sense to me. A little bit of plus money to the over here. 48 attempts we saw in that comeback win against Green Bay. So, yes, of course, game script works for that. But all different game scripts he has cashed. 1 missed by the hook, 28 was the fewest the last few weeks. And now you have a game script where they either play from behind, keep it close. Quarterbacks are averaging 35 against the Rams, the 7th most. So let's go over on Williams, 32.5, a little bit of plus money for you.
This feels like another great minds think alike situation with Claudia and I. But I will say I have the other play with respect to Caleb Williams and throwing the ball, and it's the over completions. And the main reason I did this is because the number was so low at 18.5. I completely agree with the idea of taking Caleb Williams' attempts, given that he's just not a very accurate. His completion percentage is one of the lowest in the league. I get all of that. But I also think this Bears offense is going to be able to move the ball partially through the running game, extend some drives, and extend the ability for Caleb Williams to complete the ball. I think he's going to see a lot of Colston Loveland, a lot of Luther Burden potentially in space, and DJ Moore. And again, if this was 19.5, it's 18.5 at FanDuel. If it was 19.5, I'd probably defer to Claudia's play over 32.5 attempts. I still like that play too. But at 18.5, I'm inclined to take the completions.
Okay, so we like the attempts and the completions for Caleb Williams. Now let's talk about the Patriots. You will be there, Claudia. What is a player prop that you like for your team?
Yeah, Drake May over on rush yards. When we talk about this game, which I know we will later in the show, the big worry is how this offensive line is looking on that left side against what's a very difficult defensive front to face in the Texans, and you're correct there. The difference is Drake May can escape that pressure with his legs. Let's go over on his rush yards, 33 in the hook. You saw what he did against the Chargers, took off 10 times for 66 yards, and he's been doing this all season long with the scrambles. He led the league in scrambles, and he's extending those plays. He's not just boogieing for a yard or two. He's going downfield. 38 first down rushes this season for him, and the Texans allowing over 6.5 yards per carry to quarterbacks specifically on the ground, and it's all on the line. He's going to go a little Josh Allen, put the hero cape on. I think he cashes this.
Yeah, so this partially correlates to my play again as well. I mean, I do say I'm using that word liberally, partially, because I've got Drake May, Stephon Diggs under 48.5 receiving yards. Now, I will say I put this out on Sportsline a couple of days ago at 50.5. I still like the 48.5, which you can find at FanDuel and pretty much everywhere else. We've got a plethora of receivers that Drake May goes to. And Claudia knows this as well as anybody. They spread it really thin. And especially with Efton Chisholm stepping up a little bit. And you got Kyle Williams, you got Demario Douglas, and of course you got Kayshon Boutte, Hunter Henry, Austin Hooper. There's so many pass catchers here that when you look at Stephon Diggs, especially against a great defense and great corners, I really don't see him exceeding 40, 45 yards. I think 48.5 is too high. Give me the under.
All right, let's look at the Texans side now. And you talk about Drake May, and yes, he is totally worthy of the MVP conversation that he finds himself in. But C.J. Stroud has been impressive in his career as well, the fourth starting quarterback, to win a playoff game in each of his first 3 seasons. But you have a fade for him, Sia.
I do. So last week I came on to primetime pregame, and when Houston was playing the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I said, I've never given out this prop on primetime pregame before or even on Sportsline, but I'm going to give it out now. And it was C.J. Stroud over a half an interception. It was basically because he's on the road, he's a young quarterback, and he's going up against what I thought was a pretty great defense, or at least a formidable defense. Well, I was wrong about that formidable defense part, but he did throw an interception, and he looked really kind of scrambled, if I'm being honest. And when you go to New England, a better defense, and you're still that young quarterback, I think he's going to throw another pick. So I'm bringing it right back. C.J. Stroud over a half an interception at -125.
Christian Kirk, to be honest, there's nothing I really loved on the Texan side of things. I like that play, that look there. Sia and Patriots, by the way, the highest defensive pressure rate in the divisional round. So some credit to that defense. Christian Kirk, though, his line's set at 41.5. I'm not overreacting to how well he did in that last game, but he did catch all but one of his 9 targets for over 100 yards. So this is a pretty low number when we consider the volume that's expected to be there. Why? Because Nico Collins isn't going to play. We're seeing it everywhere. They're saying it's a very slim chance. I don't expect him to play, so they're going to need him. I see them playing from behind. C.J. Stroud, D'Amico Ryan, their head coach, has been pretty vocal about wanting to get Kirk involved. So not my favorite play on the board, but I would look to the over there.
All right, let's move on to the NFC West. The 49ers are heading into the #1 seed in the Seattle Seahawks as a touchdown underdog here. So big one for them. We did see that Fred Warner maybe was going to play. He has been ruled out, but Sam Darnold just popped up on the injury report, questionable with an oblique injury that he suffered today. I kind of think he still plays in this game. Let's start with the dog in this one. What do you think for the 49ers prop?
Again, Jake Tonjes, you're probably like, why are you going with all these players? But I do. I like it, and I like the line here at 35 in the hook. We've seen a decent sample size of Tonjes being on the field when George Kittle is not. And we're talking 29 catches, 269 yards, 3 touchdowns. He's averaging almost 5 catches on 7 targets, 45 yards a game. And even better, it's a great matchup because Seahawks, as they do have one of the better defenses in the NFL, they're pretty weak against the tight end position. 4th most targets and catches, 2 tight ends. They're allowing an average of over 63 yards a game, but all we need is 36 here. I'd go over.
About a month ago, Katie, we were talking about the lack of explosive runs from Christian McCaffrey, that he hadn't had a run over a certain amount of yards, and it was pretty shocking. Well, he has exploded here and there for some long rushes, and what I like here is his longest rushing attempt. Now, this is a guy that's projected to get 16 to 17 carries. Of course, if this game stays close, he might get way more than that. And I'm looking at a longest rush prop from somebody like CMC, yes, against a good defense, that's only 11.5. When you're getting that much volume and you are Christian McCaffrey, I really don't care who the defense is or what the defense is, especially when it's a Christian McCaffrey that now has Trent Williams and likely, in my opinion, has Ricky Pearsall to scare that defense at least a little bit. So give me Christian McCaffrey longest rush over 11.5 yards.
Yeah, they did a pretty good job bottling him up in week 18, but yeah, leave it to Shanahan to scheme up something to open him up. I like this over. Let's look now at the Seattle side. Sia, what do you like for them?
Let's look at another over with Kenneth Walker, over 58.5 rushing yards. Now, this presents the same issue that Kyren Williams presents with Blake Corum, where it's like, oh, which one do you choose? And in most cases, or at least in this case for both sets of running backs, I think it's both. When you look at Zach Charbonnet and you look at Kenneth Walker, you look at their rushing attempt props, they're both in that 11 to 13 range, which is a little scary when you're taking Kenneth Walker over 58.5 rushing yards. But at the end of the day, against this San Francisco defense, this bend don't break San Francisco defense, I think we're going to see a lot of running. And if Darnold is dinged up at all, we're going to see even more running. And the truth is, if you're Seattle, you do not want to invest the likelihood or unlikelihood that you're going to win this game in Sam Darnold in this position. You want to invest in Kenneth Walker. You want to invest in Zach Charbonnet. I think they're both going to have great games. But Kenneth Walker has shown an ability between the 20s to have explosive runs. And I think he's going to have a couple here against San Francisco. Give me over 58.5 rush yards.
And I will look at Sam Darnold. Everybody's hurt. Everybody's hurt. He'll be okay. And if he's not, then maybe it's a tighter game and he'll have to throw the ball more, which means more completion. So that's where we're going to go, 19.5. I looked at his last 2 games. I considered the passing yards. Those haven't been consistent. But when he's not cashing his passing yards, he's still cashing the completions, all but one of the last 5. including a game, the last game out against the Niners. They're coming out fresh. I know maybe they build a big lead, but you can't just give up. What have we seen? Historic fourth quarter comebacks this postseason, so they can't take their foot off the brake. They want a big cushion there. I see a heavy passing game from Sam Darnold. I'll go over on completions.
All right, good stuff from Claudia and Sia. Appreciate the two of you. Don't go too far. But Saturday in Denver, it is Bills and Broncos in a divisional round showdown. Win, and you're one step from championship Sunday. Bills, Broncos, Saturday, 4:30 Eastern on CBS and streaming on Paramount.